Before we get into the video, if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button, comment down below your thoughts or your comments, and like this page, like the video, share with anybody. Now let's get into the Lions Roar podcast.
This is the Lions Roar podcast, where we talk about faith, culture, current events, and life.
Welcome back to the Lions Roar podcast. This is episode number 2 of 3 of the series that I'm titled The World Around Us. And so in the last episode, I was talking about focusing on what's most important in our lives, about removing distractions, and I was talking about how whatever it is that you focus on the most, that's what's most important to you, or whatever you give your time to most is what's most important to you. And so sometimes we have to refocus on what's most important, and especially in these times that we're living where the coronavirus, the COVID-19 is wreaking havoc around the world, and so many people that are being affected, so many family members. And I thank God that as of now, I don't have any family members that I know of that are not affected, and I have to give God the praise and glory for that. It is by His grace, and we know that there's this virus has affected everybody. It doesn't matter what religion you are, what color you are, what background you have. If you're rich or poor, it's affected everybody. And I thank God that as of now, I don't have any family members that have been infected with the virus. And my heart goes out to all those family members who have lost any loved ones or is suffering from this tragedy. And God bless all of those first responders, all those nurses and doctors who are putting their lives on the line just so that we can be safe. And so I thank God for that, and I pray God's protection and covering over them. And there's a video going around from the mayor of New York, the governor Cuomo, where he was taking credit for the plateau of the viruses being spread. And that's awesome that they're able to put in some measures to make sure that goes down. But for him to come out and be bold and say that God didn't do this and that our faith didn't do this, it had nothing to do with God, had nothing to do with prayer. That's an arrogant statement to make, which is interesting. If you watched that interview that he did, or that update that he was doing, and earlier in that conversation he was having, he goes and says that we just finished the holy high season, and he says as a Catholic that it was something that it was very emotional for him. And I thought, wait a minute, you're just saying that you're Catholic, but then at the same time you're talking about you're not giving God any credit.
The number is down because we brought the number down. God did not do that. Fate did not do that. Destiny did not do that. A lot of pain and suffering did that.
And so it's very interesting. Now, of course, obviously, we don't put our faith and our confidence and our trust in government, because only God can do the impossible. Only God can do the miraculous. And so we thank God for His covering over all those who are being protected and who have not been affected so far. And we pray God's mercy and grace over those who have been. But to come out with a statement like that is it's the only word I can think of is arrogant. And we don't put our faith and trust in them. As a matter of fact, the Bible says in which I quoted in the last episode, 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will heal the land. And we believe that. We believe God is calling the church to get on our knees and to pray and to just seek God's face and pray for God's mercy over all that's going on. But something that a lot of times we don't even mention, we don't even talk about, is verse 13. Verse 13 is very telling. And let me tell you why. Second Chronicles 7:13 says, when I shut up heaven and there is no rain, or command the locusts to devour the land, or send pestilence among the people. Then he goes on, he says, verse 14, if my people who are called by my name. So it's very interesting. He says, if I shut up the heavens, in other words, if there's no rain, if there's no rain and it causes a drought. And let me tell you right now, there is a severe drought going on around our country and around the world. Just look it up. Put, Google drought, drought news, and you'll see how drought is affecting so many people around the world. Not only that, it talks about the locusts. And right now, there is a horde. I don't know if that's the right word. A flock, a horde, a gaggle. I don't know what it is. But a bunch of locusts that are affecting Asia and the Middle East. So we have rain, or we have a drought, we have locusts, and then he talks about pestilence. And that's what's going on right now, is this virus that is affecting so many people. So I know this has implications to, it talks about, for Israel, and, we're applying it to Israel, but it has principles that we can apply today. That when there's calamity, when things happen in our lives, when things happen around the world, it is a sign for the church to get together, to get on our knees, and to pray and focus on what's most important, which is our relationship with Jesus Christ. It's a wake-up call to pray, because time is short. Time is short. Now, I'm not here talking about the end times, although I do believe that we're in that proximity of the end times. And if you see a lot of things that are going around, it's preparing the atmosphere for what we read about in Revelation chapter 13. So we are closer today. Today we are closer to the end times, to the return of the Lord Jesus Christ, so to the rapture, and I'm not going to get into those details. But we are closer today than we were yesterday. And tomorrow, we're going to be closer than we were today. So time is short. And when you look at the world around us, when you look at what's going on around the world, it is very, very interesting what is going on. For instance, number one, we read about in Revelation 13. And it's crazy. Revelation 13 talks about a one world government. That there will be one leader that will raise up and will control the government, that will lead the world under this one world government. It's very interesting that just a few weeks ago, the former Prime Minister of Britain, Gordon Brown, he is calling for a one world government to deal with this pandemic. He's calling for leaders around the world to get together to figure out how to deal with this pandemic. Now, I'm not saying this is what we're talking about there in Revelations, but what I am saying is that this could be a precursor. This could be something that gets the ball rolling. Because if they can work together as a one world government, who knows what else can come. And not only that, in that same chapter, Revelation 13, it references the mark of the beast. You got to hear this about the mark of the beast. We know that based on Revelations, that whatever leader that rises up will make sure that everybody has this mark. And the Bible clearly says that without this mark, you cannot buy or sell. So it is some form of control, some form of identification to the people saying that they are under this government, they are under this control. So I mentioned in the last episode about talking about this billionaire, Bill Gates. And I don't know if you read the news. Or if you read the news. But there is this billionaire, Bill Gates, who we all know, this Microsoft guy, this computer guy, who is calling for some kind of, he's looking for a vaccine, some kind of vaccination for this whole pandemic that's going on. So my question is, why is this millionaire tech guru guy concerned about a vaccine? Okay, what does it have to do with anything? Well, the thing that he's talking about is having some form of digital certification that will mark those who have been infected or those who have gotten the vaccine. So I'm not saying this is the mark of the beast, by no means. But what I am saying, like I said with the other thing, is that this could be a precursor. This could be what gets the ball rolling. And so he's talking about digital certification, some kind of program that will track those who have been infected and those who have had the vaccination. So that's where it starts. So now we have Apple and Google who are talking about tracing, about social tracing or something like that. What's it called? Social tracing or something like that. Where they will trace, they will have this app that will trace those who you come in contact with. That's what it is, contact tracing. So somehow, some way, some shape or form, they will track your movement and who you come in contact with. So we're giving up our privacy in the name of safety. In the name of safety, we're going to give up our freedoms. We're going to give up our privacy to be safe. So again, when you look at the world around us, things are lining up towards what the Bible has already talked about thousands of years ago. And so we have to be ready as the church. We have to be ready. We have to be alert and understand the times that we are living in. This pandemic is crazy. It's horrible. But at the same time, it is a wake-up call for the church to get ready. For the world to get ready for what is to come. This could be, I'll tell you what, after this pandemic is over, whenever it ends, whenever it does end, life will be different for everybody. The way we conduct our lives, the way restaurants, they might, not let so many people in or control the crowd. And which we're seeing now, the crowd controls. There's places. Thanks again for listening to the podcast or to the video. And so I pray that it was a blessing to you. If you feel like this is something that maybe you want someone else to listen to, please go ahead and share it. Subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for the next video where I'll be concluding this series on the world around us. So it's going to be a good one. God bless.